Go ahead and start the recording. Nice little jog to warm up your body here. Fix this, keep going, still jogging. You can, of course, always take out that jog and just step in place. Go ahead and transition into some jumping jacks. Of course, you can always take out that hop as well and just step from side to side, keeping it going. And then from a standing position, just doing some alternating hand toe taps, trying to get your leg up nice and high, opening up your hip flexors, stretching the front and back side of your thighs. Let's do one more on each side. And then a nice hip opener over to a side lunge. So really getting your leg up and over to the opposite side. Chin and chest stays lifted as you come into that side lunge. Do one more on each side. And then staying low in your lunge. Feet are wider than your hips. Reach your arms out to your side. Reach down, tap the opposite inside ankle. Chin and chest stays lifted. One more on each side. Staying low in an upright position, your arms forward in a windmill motion. Core stays engaged, and then reverse the direction, opening up your shoulders here. Staying low in your squat, slightly hinge forward the waist, open, close the arms, give yourself a nice big hug, and then squeezing your shoulder blades together as you open the arms up towards the ceiling. And then coming down to a runner's lunge, left leg forward, pressing into that right knee, opening up your right hip. And then straighten the left foot, maybe point, flex your left toes. And just switching sides at your own pace. Right foot forward, pressing into that left knee. Opening up that left hip. And then straightening your right leg, maybe point, flex your right toes. Coming on up to a standing position. From here, option to grab your set of light weights. You can use no weights at all. You can also use a water bottle or candles, cans, whatever you have. From here, we're going to come to a low, wide plie. Toes are wider than your hips. Toes slightly turned out. Arms out by your side. Just little circles here, warming up the body a little bit more. Any direction, we will switch halfway. 30 seconds one way, 30 seconds the other way. Arms straight out to a T. Maybe stay a little bit lower in your plie squat. Chin and chest stays lifted. Keep it going. Just little circles here. Core is engaged. Reverse your circle. Tiny circle. Think maybe drawing the size of a quarter, maybe drawing the size of a dime. Teeny tiny circles. Little movements here. Keeping it going. Almost there. Less than 10 seconds to go, just like this. Push through, arms straight out to the side, little circles for 2 and 1. You can keep your weights in your hands. Bring the heels so our toes are apart, soft bend in your standing left leg. Right leg stays straight. We're just gonna lift and lower that right leg. Think about shining the inner right thigh up towards the ceiling. Trying to keep that leg as straight as you can. Keeping a soft bend in your standing left leg. You can always grab onto a chair, a bar. You can use a door handle or a doorknob, whatever you need to use. You can also just keep your hands on your hips, just raising and lowering. Keeping it going just like this. Tiny lifts and lowers, just the right leg. Still going, still moving. 10 seconds to go. From here, hold your highest point. From here, tiny lift and lift. Keeping that leg nice and straight. Maybe you feel that slight pinch in your hip flexor, in your thigh. That's okay. Push through, power through the pain. Tiny lift. Nice straight right leg. Toes are flexed. Shine that inner right thigh up towards the ceiling. Keeping it going. Little lift from here. Point the toes, bring a soft bend in the right leg, and continue to lift. Tiny lift, just like this. Core stays engaged. Almost there. Keeping it going. Shine that inner right thigh, still up towards the ceiling. Soft bend in your right knee. Soft bend your standing left leg. Right toes are pointed. Lifting your leg even higher for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bring that right leg down. Maybe shake it out. Heel together, toes are apart. Reach your arms up overhead. From here, we're going to come just to a plie as our arms come out to the side. Just getting a little movement in here before we switch sides. Keeping it going. You can keep your heels flat. You can also come up onto your tippy toes, either in low heels or coming up onto those tippy toes as high as you can. As you straighten the legs, arms reach up overhead. As you bend the knees, bringing your feet down towards your heels, arms open, palms facing up, core stays engaged. Imagine you're sliding down a wall behind you. Nice flat back, gaze is forward, keeping it going for 10. Then we're gonna work that inner left thigh. And 3, 2, last one. You can keep your hands on your hips or feel free to use whatever object you need to. Heel together, toes are apart. From here, soft bend your standing right leg. Extend your left leg straight and lift and lower. Toes are flexed up towards the ceiling. Really think about shining that inner left thigh up. You can hold on to a wall, a doorknob. If you have a bar handy, you can also use a chair or a couch ledge. Upper body stays upright, nice proud chest. Straight left leg, lift and lower. Really shining that inner left thigh up towards the ceiling. Toes are flexed, soft bend in your standing right leg. Core is engaged for 7. Last 3, 2, and 1. Hold at your highest point. From here. Tiny lift. I know it burns. Keep it going, lifting even higher, as high as you can, and then pulsing from that highest point possible. Tiny lift here. Gaze is forward. Keep it going. Tiny lift, still keeping that soft bend in your standing right leg. Feel free to hold on to anything that you need to. Keep it going, shining that inner left thigh up towards the ceiling. Point the toes, bring a soft into your left leg and continue to lift. Just lifting here. Tiny lift, core stays engaged. Keeping it going, little lifts here. Maybe you feel that little shake in your left leg. Totally normal. Embrace the shake. It's a good thing. Last 7. Keep it going. Last 1. Bring that left leg down. Shake it out. From here, come to 4th position. Right foot in front. Hands at your waist. We're just going to slide the right leg out and then behind, slide it out and bring it in front. So bringing that right leg out to the side, alternating leg behind and in front of your left foot. Keep it going. Still moving. Chin and chest stays lifted. Hips stay completely still. You're just moving that right leg out and front, out, behind. Keep it going. You can hold on to a wall, a chair, a couch ledge, anything that you have to keep yourself still. Think about keeping your shoulders directly over your hips. Last 5, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bring the feet together and bring that left foot in front. We're going to do the exact same thing, this time on the left leg. Extend it out, bring it behind, extend out, bring it in front. So just alternating, extending that leg out, and then alternating the leg in front and behind. Maybe pointing the toes as you extend the leg out straight, out from your left hip. Keep it going. Working that inner and outer thigh. Also working that outer seat pocket on the left side. Core stays engaged. Shoulders stacked directly over your hips, so we're not twisting our hips as we move. Just the left leg extends, comes back to meet the right. Right leg is not moving. Keep it going. Last 5, just like this, for 3, 2, and 1. Coming to a narrow squat, grabbing those weights or whatever you're using if you'd like to use a weight. Bring the palms facing up, elbows into your sides, so elbows are bent at 90. Soft bend in your knees. Extend the arms out, pull it in, bring the arms up, pull it down. So alternating server arms and then little bat wings, bringing your elbows up, keeping them at 90. As you extend the arms forward, palms stay facing up, elbows and arms stay narrow in towards your body. Soft bend in your knees. Upper body is upright. 20 seconds to go, just like this. Keeping it going. Alternating server arms out in front, palms facing up, palms facing in towards one another with our little bat wing arms for 5. Last 3, 2, and 1. Set one of the weights to the side or whatever you're using. Bring your feet wide than your hips, toes slightly turned out. Sink your feet towards knee level, coming into a low squat. From here, we're going to pass that weight, drawing a figure 8 motion. If you're not using any kind of equipment or weight, you can just pretend. Imagine that you're trying to pass in between your legs, drawing your opposite shoulder down towards your opposite knee, crunching down in between. Hips stay nice and low, so we're not coming up to a standing position. You want to stay low the whole entire time, keeping it going. Almost there. Drawing that figure 8 around your thighs, maybe your knees, maybe your calf, maybe as low as your ankles. Last 5, 3, 2, and 1. Grabbing that second weight if you're using it. Bringing your heels together, toes are apart. We're going to extend that right leg up, palms facing forward, soft bend your elbows. We're going to come to a tree position, drawing that right foot into your left inner thigh with a bicep curl and an extend out. So just standing on that left leg, keeping it going, holding your balance, drawing your right big toe into the inside of your left leg, maybe to the inside of your ankle, maybe your calf, or maybe just above your knee. Moving with your breath here, adding on that bicep curl, palms facing upward, moving with your breath, controlled movement. Last 7, and we're going to switch sides. And 3, 2, and 1. Maybe shake out that right leg. This time, palms facing in for a hammer curl. Extend your left leg out to the side, soften the elbows, and then as you draw the left toe up to the inside of your right leg, drawing those arms up in a hammer curl position. Elbows stay close into your side. Maybe your big left toe comes to the inside of your right ankle, maybe the inside of your right calf, maybe all the way up towards your thigh. Whatever you can do today, staying nice and tall on that right leg, grounding through the sole of your right foot. Core stays engaged, chin and chest is lifted. Keeping it going just like this. Almost there. Last 3, 2, and 1. Bringing your heels together, toes are apart. From here, we're going to do alternating lateral and forward raises with alternating plie steps out. So whatever arm you want to come forward, the opposite will come to the side, and then just switching as you extend the other leg out, coming low in your plie squat, getting some movement going here. You're going to allow static movements. Keep it going. Chin and chest stays lifted. Maybe sitting an inch or two lower in your plie squat. Core is engaged. Almost there. Last 15. Still going for 10. Alternating forward and side lateral raises with a plie squat for 3, 2, and 1. Coming here, bringing your heels together, toes are apart, bringing your arms down in front, making that 11 shape, so elbows are bent at 90, heels together, toes are apart, soft bend in your knees, sinking your seat towards the level, and then alternating, pressing your arms up, keeping your forearms in that 11 shape, sculpting those shoulders. This, of course, can be done with or without weights. Core is engaged. Shoulders stay stacked over your hips. Keeping it going. Almost there. Still moving with your breath. Knuckles up towards the ceiling. Forearms making that beautiful 11 shape. Last 5, 3, 2, and 1. From here, coming into a lunge, right leg steps back. You can keep the weight in your hands, doesn't matter, you can set them to the side. Heels together, toes are apart, and we're just stepping that right leg forward and back. Once again, just breaking up our static movements, keeping it going, stepping the right leg forward and back. Keeping that soft bend in your left leg, still going, more than halfway there. Tiny movements. You can just keep your hands at your hips. Still going. Almost there. Just stepping that right back foot forward and back. Last 5, soft bend in both of your knees for 2 and 1. Keeping your back leg behind you, right leg behind you, slightly hinge forward. From here, soft bend in both of your knees, and then just tiny lift of your back right leg, really feeling it in your outer right seat. Tiny lift and lower. Keeping it going. Core stays engaged, slightly hinge forward. You can, of course, always grab onto a bar or a chair or a couch that's in front of you. You can also hold on to a door frame or a doorknob. Keep it going. I've even seen people hold on to a door oven. Just don't pull off on it. Keeping it going. Tiny lifts of that back right leg. Core stays nice and engaged. Last 7, then we're going to switch sides. For 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. From here, step your left foot back. Heels are towards one another. Toes are apart. And then we're just stepping that left leg forward and back. Maybe one side feels a little funky. That's totally normal. Working to keep everything symmetrical. Keeping it going. Upper body stays upright. Shoulders are stacked over your hips. Soft bend in both of your knees. Just stepping the left leg back and forward. Gaze stays forward. Nice proud chest. If you have the waist, just place them onto your hips. Nice relaxed shoulders. Keep it going. Tiny step back and forward. Last 7, then we have our back left leg lift. And 3, 2, and 1. Keeping that back left leg behind you, slightly hinge forward, hands stay at your waist, soft bend in both of your knees, and then just lifting that back left leg up. So really squeezing that outer seat pocket, this time on the left side. Your right leg is also getting the weight workout by hinging forward and keeping that leg nice and strong, soft bend in your right knee, soft bend in your left leg, just the left leg lifts and lowers. Maybe tapping your toes down, lifting right back up. Last 20 seconds, and we're going to come down onto the floor, grabbing our ball, still going, tiny lifts and lowers. Squeezing your right leg to keep your body still. Squeeze your left leg as you lift the leg up. For 3, last 2, and 1. Set your weight to the side, grabbing your ball, coming to a C-sit position, bringing your feet hip width apart and parallel, and then flexing your toes, pressing the ball into the top of your thighs, both of your palms, and going back an inch and coming up an inch. Pressing the ball as you lower your back towards the mat, going to the depth that works for you. So don't going too far to the point where you can't bring your body back upright. Core stays engaged. Keeping it going, tiny presses as you bring the body back, tiny presses as you bring the body forward. Chest towards the knees and then away. Keeping it going, last 10. Moving here with your breath. Feet are hip width apart and parallel. For 3, last 2, and 1. Grabbing the ball, placing the ball between your palms. Toes are still flexed up towards the ceiling. Twist left, come center, twist right, come center. Twisting in between. Tiny twist here. Coming back through center as you twist. You can lean your upper body back as far as you can. The further back you go, the more challenging it is. Don't let your stomach dome up towards your knees. You can also sit more upright. You can also place a pillow or another ball behind your back for a little bit more support. Keeping it going. Going to the depth that works for you, twisting with your rib cage, less of your shoulders, heels pressed in, toes up towards the ceiling. Keeping it going. Last 5, 3, 2, and 1. Holding that twist to the left and then back and up. Squeezing that ball between your palms. Elbows stay nice and wide. Rotating your shoulders over the diagonal so they're not directly over your hips anymore. Keeping it going. Pulling that twist to the left and then taking it back and taking it back forward. Keeping it going, bringing your waistband towards the mat and then drawing your chest up towards your knees. Only moving a tiny bit. Keep it going. Core stays nice and engaged. Not letting your stomach dome out. Think about drawing your navel in towards your spine for 10. Keeping it going just like this. Last 5. Really squeezing that ball between your palms. Last 1. Holding as far back as you can and then just making tiny twists here. Tiny movements. Twisting here. Pressing that ball together. So using that resistance of the ball. Elbows stay wide. And twisting even further towards the left. Think about your rib cage being a towel and you're trying to wring out all of the water. Keeping it going, tiny twist. Just moving here, twisting to the left side as far as you can. Keeping it going, tiny twist just like this. Tiny movement. Keeping the twist going. Almost there. Elbows stay nice and wide, twisting even further. So staying at that twist to the left and then twisting even further. Last 3, 2, and 1. Bring it center, twist right, bring it center, twist left, bring it center. As you twist to the right and to the left individually, see how it feels differently now that we really worked and fired up our left oblique. Really pressing that ball between your palms, elbows stay nice and wide. As you come center, really focus on bringing your shoulders in line over your hips, not directly over them because you are leaning back, but think of them as in the same field. Keeping it going, core stays nice and engaged. Toes are flexed up towards the ceiling, heels digging in towards the floor. Just moving here with your breath, twisting right, come center, twist left, come center. Moving with your breath. Last 5, then we're gonna do the exact same thing on the right side. No surprises, hold it to the right, take it back and forward. Just moving here, maybe coming to the depth that works for you. Holding that twist over to the right, still digging your heels in towards the floor. If you find that your hip flexors are starting to give out or they're feeling a little bit weak, just extend your legs further in front of you and don't move your upper body back as far. Maybe stay a little bit more upright. You can also place the pillow or the ball behind your lower back, between your back and the floor, taking it back a little bit and up. Moving here with your breath, drawing your back down towards the floor and then drawing your chest closer towards your knees. Think tiny movements here for 5. Last 3, 2, and 1. Holding at your lowest point with your back towards the mat and then twisting here. Tiny twist, elbows stay wide, twisting with your rib cage, less of your shoulders. Really think about wringing out that towel with all of the water, any excess water that you have in your rib cage, really wringing out here with a twist, holding that twist to the right and then twisting even further, really pressing into that ball, elbows stay wide, twisting with the rib cage, less of the shoulders, gazes out over in front of the ball or towards your right elbow. Tiny twist, keeping it going. Less than 20 seconds to go on this side. Moving here with your breath, tiny twist, not coming back through center. Holding it here for 7, twisting for 5, twisting more for 3, 2, and 1. Bringing it back to center, ball still between your palms, drawing your arms up and then back down in front of you. So the ball goes overhead and then comes back in front of your chest. Upper body lean back as far as you can hold it. Heels are still digging into that floor. Toes are up towards the ceiling. You can have your legs straight as well. You can bend your knees as far as you need to. Really pressing that ball between your palms. Additional shoulder workout as we hold that crunch. Holding our core in. Gazes forward. Keeping it going. Last 10. And we're going to lay down onto our back still with that ball. Last 3, 2, and 1. Grabbing that ball, place it between your thighs, rolling all the way back, planting the sole of your feet in towards the floor, and then just resting your hands by your hips. From here, we're just going to lift the glutes and lower. So barely tapping your glutes down into the floor and then bringing them right back up. Feet are hip width apart and parallel, really squeezing your thighs together to keep that ball in place. We're really trying to work the glutes here, bonus core work, and bonus inner thigh work with a squeeze of the ball. Upper back stays pressed into the floor, just relaxing your neck, maybe gazing up towards the ceiling. Palms resting down by your sides next to your hips. Last 10. Keeping it going for 5. Last 3, 2, From here, hips lift, squeeze, squeeze, hips lower. Lift, squeeze, squeeze, and lower. Lift, squeeze, squeeze, and lower. So just adding in those two squeezes after you lift the hips, slightly holding that squeeze as you lower the hips down, not resting those hips, not resting your glutes, but barely tapping. Maybe you just feel the brace of your glutes on the floor and you're lifting your hips right back up. Think about someone has a string around your waist and they're drawing your hips up towards the ceiling, lifting even higher. Soles of your feet pressed into the ground. Keeping it here. Still going. Hips lift, squeeze, squeeze, hips lower. Hold the hips lifted and just squeezing the ball, really targeting those inner thighs. One more time. Hips stay lifted, upper back stays pressed into the floor, not doing a bridge or wheel. Not this time. Soles of your feet pressed into the ground, really squeezing that ball. So as you maybe think you're releasing that ball, don't lose your sight of where that ball is. Keeping your sides at least hip width apart and squeezing that ball even tighter. Keeping it going. Core stays engaged, hips stay lifted, not letting your hips go down any further than when you first started. Keeping it going. Last 10. Then we're going to set our glutes down in 5, 3, 2, and 1. Gently release your glutes down. With that ball, bring your legs to a tabletop position. Press the ball into the top of your left thigh with both of your hands, and then just extend and bend your right leg. So left leg stays completely still. Left knee is directly over your left hip. Just extending that right leg to a hovering position, and then drawing your right knee up on top of your right hip as you bring it back to a bent position. You can have your neck flat on the floor. You can also curl your chin, lifting your shoulder blades up. Most important part is that your lower back stays pressed into the ground, whether your head is flat on the floor, gazing up towards the ceiling, or your shoulders are hovering with a curl in your upper body. Keeping it going, just bending and extending your right leg for 3, then we switch. Keeping that right knee bent, right knee over your hips, pressing the ball into the top of your right thigh, left leg, extend and bend. Drawing that left leg long to a hover position, squeezing your glutes as you extend that leg, and then drawing your left knee up on top of your left hip. You can rest your head down, just gazing up towards the ceiling as you simultaneously press the ball into your right thigh, keeping that right leg over your right hip. You can also tuck your chin, covering your shoulders, keeping your lower back pressed into the mat. Chin is not glued down towards your chest. So think about you having a clementine under your chin and you don't want to burst the clementine. Last 10, just like this. Keeping it going for 5. Last 3, 2, and 1. Knees are bent. Grab that ball between your palms. Elbows are wide. Neck flat or shoulders are hovering. From here, just bicycle legs alternating, bending and extending. The lower your legs are, the more challenging it is. You can also bring your legs up towards the ceiling. You can bring them to any diagonal. You can bring them up and then bring them lower. Just riding your bicycle, elbows stay wide. You can have your neck resting flat on the floor. You can also curl your chin, shoulders stay hovering. Imagine that clementine under your chin. Keeping it going, lower back pressed into the mat. If your lower back lifts up or if you feel any discomfort, just raise your legs closer towards the ceiling for 7. Last 3, 2, and 1. Go with that ball. It's our BFF for the rest of class. Flip on over to a tabletop position. Place the ball behind your right knee. Wrists are under your shoulders, knees are under your hips. And then from here, just little donkey kicks up. You can point or flex your right toes, maybe just glancing down between your thumb and your index finger. Core stays engaged. Nice flat back, not arching your spine, really drawing your navel up towards your spine. Keeping it going here, just like this. Moving here with your breath. Really kicking your heel and your toe up towards the ceiling. Core is engaged. Last 7, 3, 2, and 1. With that right knee next to your left hip, now we have fire hydrants, bringing that right leg out to the side, maybe feeling that pinch in your outer right hip. You can keep your wrist down. You can also bring your left forearm down, right arm stays boxed out. Give yourself a little bit more range of motion as you open and close that right knee. Core stays engaged. Keeping it going. Almost there. Tiny movements. Really lifting that right leg up and out to the side. You don't have to bring that right leg all the way back down. Just to whatever height and closing position works for you. Last 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to your wrist if you had brought your left forearm down. Still with that ball behind the right leg. We're drawing the right knee to the chest and then bring the right knee back in line with your left. So just moving a single leg mountain climber from a tabletop position, really drawing your lower abs in to drive your knee up even further, closer towards your chest. Think about trying to tap your right collarbone with your right knee. Keep it going. Squeezing and keeping your heel to your seat to squeeze and keep that ball just in place. Core stays engaged. Keeping it going here. Moving with your breath for 5. Then we get to switch sides. Gently releasing your right knee down into the floor. And then placing the ball behind your left knee. And then keeping your heel close into your seat, wrist just under your shoulders. From here, just lifting and lowering that left knee. You can always readjust your ball as much as you need to. Gaze is down between your thumb and your index finger. Maybe pointing or flexing your left toes. Nice flat back, no arching of the spine. Really drawing your navel in towards your rib cage. Feeling that difference as you keep a nice flat back. Maybe your range of motion is shortened. That is totally fine and completely normal. Keeping it going. Just drawing that left foot up towards the ceiling. Maybe think about poking your sole of your left foot or your left toes up into the ceiling. Drawing that left leg down in line with your right. And then just open and close. Just drawing that left leg up out to the side in a fire hydrant motion. You can keep both of your wrists into the ground. You can also bring your right forearm down, keeping your left arm boxed out and still continuing to open and close that left leg in a fire hydrant position. Keeping it going, still keeping it flat back. Still going, still moving, just lifting and lowering the left leg. Bring it as far away as you can and bring it as close back in as you can. Moving with your breath, moving to your movement. whatever you can do. Gently resting that left leg down, coming back to your wrist if you had previously come down onto your right forearm, and then drawing your left knee up to your left collarbone, and then back down. Really squeezing that ball in place, keeping your left heel in towards your seat. That way you have the most range of motion. Tucking your hips under, nice flat back, just gazing down between your thumb and your index finger. Single leg mountain climber from a tabletop position, really using your lower abs to draw your knee even further closer up. Maybe you tap your left collar with your left knee. Maybe you come so close that you can feel it brush against the side of your left cheek. Keep it going for 5. Last 3, 2, and 1. So with that ball, come back on over, laying onto your back. Place the ball between your thighs. Legs are zipped together as close as they can. You can place your hands under your bum and then just lowering and raising your legs. You can also bring your arms out to a T. You can bring your hands behind your head or just resting them by your hips. Just raising and lowering. As you lower your legs, your lower back should stay pressed into the mat. Working those lower abs here. If you find that your abs begin to billow out or your lower back lifts up off the mat, just don't lower your legs as far. Go to the depth that works for you. Core stays engaged. Last 10, just like this. Keeping it going for 5. Last 3. And 1. Keeping your legs up towards the center. You can have them straight or you can have a bend in your knees. From here, we have hip lifts. Working the lower abs one last time. Think about drawing your toes or the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling, trying to reach everything up. Neck stays flat on the floor, just gazing up towards the ceiling, tiny lifts and lowers, going at whatever speed works for you. You can slow it down as much as you need to. Trying not to swing your legs forward and backwards, just straight up towards the ceiling. Keeping it going. Tiny lifts, tiny lowers. Still going. Still moving. Last 7. 5, 3, 2, and 1. Flex your ball to side. Still laying onto your back. Drawing your knees into your chest. You all have worked so hard for the last 45 minutes. Now we get to stretch. Maybe circling out your feet and your ankles, and then reversing the direction. Extend your left leg long, drawing your right knee up towards your right shoulder. And then with your left hand, grab the outside of your right knee and drawing your right knee across your body. And you can extend your right arm long. You can also cactus your arm. And looking over your right shoulder, maybe your right ear or your right cheek touch the floor, but not forcing it. On your next exhale, gently coming back to center, drawing both of your knees back into your chest, rolling from side to side for a nice lower back release. And coming back to center, extend your right leg long, drawing your left knee up towards your left shoulder, not grabbing onto your knee, but just below it, around your shin. And then with your right hand, grabbing the outside of your left knee and drawing it across your body and looking over your left shoulder, extending your left arm long. You can also cactus your left arm. Maybe your left ear or cheek touches the floor. Just not forcing it. And on your next exhale, gently coming up back to the center, turning both of your knees into your chest one last time, and then rocking and rolling yourself along your spine. few times for a nice lower back release. And then coming up to a seated position. And in whatever way you can, coming to a standing position slowly, drawing your right arm across your body, not grabbing onto your wrist or your elbow, but just right in between on your forearm. And then open and switch. Left arm across the body. And then open. And right hand behind the head, stretching the shoulder and the tricep. And then open and switching. Left arm behind the head. And then bringing it back, clasping your hands behind your back, chin and chest lifted for a nice shoulder stretch, and moving your head from side to side, forwards and backwards, and then just shaking everything out. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to stretch as much as you need to. Drink plenty of water. Thanks for sticking around our class, Rob. Have a fantastic rest of your day. See you next week.